Riv and the process himself for Team Dignitas.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by Cop, coach of Team Dignitas here, coming in at week 5 and a 5-2 record after that with this victory. I got to ask, coming in, and first off, how's it feel to be back?
I mean, it feels amazing now because we just kind of got out of like the relegation zone. So now we're like set, and now we just set our goals high for playoffs. Feels good.
And with that kind of 5 wins, 2 losses coming since week 5, what were the first adjustments you saw could be made here coming in with Team Dignitas?
First, I kind of had to like meet and understand all the players, like what they play, and so that was the first step because I didn't really know what they were best at, like the personalities. I had to like meet them first. We got kind of lucky on that first week with the 2-0 when I first came, but then we kind of developed all of our like weaknesses, and then just like figured out our strengths and then built upon that.
So just coming in as a coach right now, a meta shift happens. How do you feel you can help the team with that? And do you feel it actually helps Dignitas right now? Because today's play was pretty nice.
I think we're just focusing on our gameplay more, and then the champs will like work in their own. We just got to make sure we're comfortable on like our counter picks, make sure we're good with our blind picks, and then, I mean, you just kind of pick based on what the other team picks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And final question to you. You don't have to go in-depth on each team. You have Envy coming up this week, but it's C9 and Immortals next week. How do you guys feel about getting to that 10-8 position to end out the season?
I mean, that'd be amazing, but we're just going to take it like one game at a time. I mean, if we beat C9, that'll be pretty hype, and then we'll just be so like motivated going into playoffs, and I think that'll be a big boost for us.
All right, Cop, thank you very much. Congratulations on the win. We are going to send it over to Dash and Azael to break down that Dignitas victory.
Thank you very much,
Nice.
Rivington. Dignitas 5-2 since the addition of Cop to the roster back in week 5. So a really solid record for them there. And then as we mentioned at the top of the show, in terms of strength of schedule going forward, it almost only gets easier from here. Envy up next. So we'll see what they can kind of close the season at. But this game, just as dominant in the first in many ways. And so once again, just, 14 Dignitas and the improvement that we're seeing out of them, it's been absolutely massive.
Yeah, it really has. And I mean, Teal hung around a little bit better in the early stages of the game. It wasn't like as one-sided as game 1, but at the end of the day, they're like 15K up. They're clearly closing out the game. They just seem to be the better team, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that individually they matched up pretty well, but it's about the team play, and I think that is really what shined through for Dignitas.
We got some cool clips to look at for this one, so let's jump right into it. 2 minutes into the game here. First blood on Piglet from Chaser. Important to note, Piglet went for this exact same ward last game, level 1, so Chaser reading that off of just the red buff, comes in level 2, picks up an early kill.
And I think it just makes a lot of sense. You look at how last game went, how much Keen was able to take over when he got a lead. So attack Piglet, put him in situations that he's not comfortable in. And he doesn't have as much experience around ward timings, around matchups, around when he needs to be careful. So Chaser does a pretty cheesy route, and it pays off. I mean, Piglet fell very far behind. Keen wasn't the star of this game, but he was still very big.
Absolutely, of course. This did set up Chaser for quite an impressive scoreline that we'll see develop over the game. I want to jump now to 25 minutes in the game, so I know we're accelerating the pace here a little bit. Up here in the back while frozen, dance around Infernal Drake. Important to note, Dignitas will pick this up, but what are we tracking here?
I mean, the big thing for Dignitas as we roll this clip is that they're able to absorb so many of the ultimates, and also the patience that we see here from them to not expend their ultimates immediately when it's not needed. So someday here, as the fight breaks out, so many players would immediately pop the
count them. There's
ultimate.
one.
They would immediately be just trying to even use those ultimates to bail out of the fight.
Right.
Instead, he doesn't. He bases, he still has the ultimate available, he gets a great TP flank, and he's able to come into the fight and be so disruptive. When the Nautilus is in the middle of the fight with a shield that big from Courage of the Colossus, it's so tough to actually really do anything about that fight.
Exactly.
I think it was just a lot of patience.
And while a lot of people will look at that first kind of engagement there near the Dragon and say, well, both teams used 2 ultimates, that may all be well and true, but kind of the impactfulness of the ultimates, and especially on the side of Team Liquid, that Rumble ultimate is really what they lived and died by for so much of this game in terms of extending it. So,
especially
sacrificing
in that corridor, right?
Exactly.
They're fighting in a jungle corridor where it's a very choked up little area. You can't fight Rumble in that sort of situation. As you funnel through there, you get absolutely destroyed. destroyed by Rumble ult. But because they're able to do that, that gives them the Baron, gives them a 5-for-1 fight.
Yep.
I mean, that is really what broke the camel's back, and TL never was able to come back in.
Absolutely. So that was probably the game ender there in a sense, but we're still going to look at one more replay, and this is to turn a critical eye towards Team Liquid. So 29-50 into the game here. Liquid putting together what I guess is their last stand, but it does not go well.
I mean, this one is rough, right? It almost feels like it's just a bit of a tilted play here from TL as they kind of funnel in one at a time. You know, half the team's running away, the other half's going in, and this is where it starts to get really messy. You know, Reignover goes back, he ults back out, and you can just watch how disjointed this fight actually is.
Right.
It's one man after the next, after the next. Yes, Dignitas is low, but they're still massively strong and can clean you up, and it's almost like those kung fu movies where there's like the hero and one bad guy's coming in at a time, and they're fighting him, and he gets smashed, and then they tag in the next guy. I just don't understand what they're really.
You wait until you see your buddy get knocked out so that you can go in and hog all the glory when you 1v5 the enemy team, right?
Exactly. And to be fair, I mean, they're really behind. The game is essentially already like pretty unwinnable, but they still had most of their base. And if you actually play this a little bit more patient, you give yourself a chance to come back in. And I mean, Liquid has just not looked like a strong team, even with the changes.
And to me, that just hits, you know, focus, right? Which is that they are losing focus in some way, shape, or form as a team, right? That the coordination, you know, whatever did exist between them in the earlier portions of the game is quickly deteriorating for a roster that needs it more than any other as they are the most recently formed.
Yeah, I mean, if you do not even avoid relegation tournament at this point with how much has been put into the roster, that is just so disappointing. I mean, you know, you have to feel for Steve and the rest of the Liquid management, who are obviously, you know, they're trying to go all in and make sure that this Liquid roster can work and get everything they need to make this happen. But it's not looking good. And I mean, I'm not saying they're going to get relegated because I think that all the LCS teams are stronger than the Challenger ones coming up. But still, you don't want to even face that chance.
Yeah, still left to be determined there. But it's a very interesting point that you bring up there. You know, the effort that's being put in by both the players and the organization to turn the season around. Now, whether or not that's actually coming to fruition, okay, maybe not. But we're at least seeing, you know, the changes, the intention is there, right, to pull the team out of a rut, just not coming together quite as well as they had hoped. Player of the game going to Chaser this time around. Honorable mention is Someday. But once again, Chaser, intelligent pathing, picks up that early kill, and we saw him get to a point where he's a threat to the backline just as big as anyone else.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a good sign for Dignitas when they're winning and it's not Someday player of the game. Like, I actually think that is very big for them. Keen able to carry in game 1, Chaser able to carry in game 2, Lod looking solid, you know, the bot lane as a whole looking solid all across the board. So I think the fact that you can have, you know, this star player and not need him to carry every game means that you're actually becoming a good team, not just a team of good players.
Exactly. Dignitas looking to make it a 2-0 week up against Envy later on this weekend. For Team Liquid, though, strength of schedule not looking too promising for them. We'll see if they can get it together here by the end of the weekend. We've got more league action coming your way after the break. Echo Fox hits the Rift against Counterlogic Gaming. Don't go anywhere.
And Piglet now running into Chaser.
Piglet, I don't know about this one, bud. That's first blood.
Oh, Piglet was on a
Piglet, oh, now he's in some trouble. The shock wave into the sonic wave, and Keen waves bye-bye to Piglet. On Jin.
나이스 캐시오 오케이 럼블 좋냐 럼블 오케이
You can Baron after.
나이스
One more shot finds its way onto Someday. Piglet gonna be taken out. Chaser from over the wall, unstoppable. Dignitas take this game and close the series 2-0.